Hey guys, my name is Anthony and in today's video I'm going to be talking over my second attempt at the esports event that Codemasters have brought out for F1 Esports 2021. So if you want to see more videos like this in the future once they bring out more events, make sure to hit the like button and stick around by subscribing to the channel. So as you can see, we're just going through, trying to go through the first corner here because it's pretty difficult ones, especially when they throw you straight into the braking zone for turn 1. But as you can see now, we're finally in the new house, getting all settled and stuff, and you can see I've got a new camera angle. So if you guys want me to change the camera angle, or if you like it, let me know in the comment section below if you want me to stick with this camera angle where it's sort of like face on, or if you want it similar to the old camera angle where I had it sort of side on so you can see a little bit more of the background. But yeah, getting into this attempt now. I think I only did 2 or 3 attempts at this, I believe, before I actually ended up getting the attempt that basically got me into the top 100 at the time. I do believe that at the moment I'm outside the top 100, but at the time of doing this, it's put me in 98th place. I can definitely do better than the attempt here, but it's just too much time that I'm not willing to put in because esports is not really something that I plan on going into anyway. It's just something to do for fun, and it's something to do for content for you guys. So coming up to the end of the first lap now, basically if you want an explanation of what this event is and what you need to do in this event, basically they give you a scenario. So in this scenario we're Valtteri Bottas and we need to catch up Lewis Hamilton and pass him to finish in second place from lap 46 to lap 53. So that's roughly about 7 laps. So we've got 7 laps to catch up Lewis Hamilton and pass him, and then beat him in this race. And the way they do these esports events, Codemasters, they do it by giving you points. So you get points for a bunch of different things. So the more assists you use, the bigger penalty you get on the points. So if you want the most amount of points from assists, you've basically got to use no assists. If you want the biggest amount of points from the difficulty bonus, then you basically got to do it at 110% AI, which is what I'm doing it on right now. And you've also got stuff like corner cutting bonuses. So like right now I ended up getting a warning, which means I actually get a deduction in points because of the warning that I got. So if you get more warnings, you get less points. So it's better to not get more warnings. Basically they want you to be as quick as possible, as consistent as possible, and as clean as possible as well. So now we're coming up to the end of lap 47 now, coming up to Parabolica, and at this point in time I was pretty calm. These esports events is something that you definitely need to basically sweat out a lot if you really want to get a good score. A lot of the quicker guys, what they do is they spend hours upon hours doing this esports event to make sure that they get the best score that they can get. Whereas someone like me, I'm not really too bothered about all that. So what I did is I did just a couple of attempts and then I called it a day basically. But as you can see now, not the best turn in through turn 1. When it comes to turn 1 at Monza, you basically want to ride over the first curb and then sort of just clip the second curb coming out of the chicane, and then just try and get the traction down as soon as you can. And then this second chicane is one of the most difficult chicanes in my opinion, but you basically want to ride over the curbs on both of those chicanes, and then for this, braking just after the 50-meter board and try not to go out wide. I ended up going out wide, but luckily I didn't get a warning there. And then for the second one, you don't want to go out wide either. And then you've got the DRS zone, but obviously we've not got DRS on Hamilton because we're still 2.2 seconds behind him at this point. And then coming into Ascari, you want to brake at the 100-meter board down into 5th, right over the curbs. Make sure to take as much curb as you can on going through Ascari, and at the last curb you don't want to be going full throttle on that curb, or else it will spit you out and you'll basically spin out. And then coming up to Parabolica, just after the just before the 50-meter board, sorry, when that green patch ends on the left hand side, that's where you want to brake. So yeah, when it comes to these esports events, essentially what you want to do is you want to get as fast as time as possible. And I believe that if you want to be really competitive, if you want to get into a decent score, which a decent score would probably be the top 100 or the top 50, you're probably going to want to be getting close. Your fastest lap probably is going to want to be close to a 20, so you either want to get a low 21 or you want to actually get into the 20s. I believe Tom97 recently done this attempt as well, and he got a 20.7 I think as his fastest lap. So that's sort of the pace that you want to be looking at around Monza on these medium tires. And as you can see right now, our fastest lap is a 21.3. I have gone faster, but for this attempt personally, I don't think I ended up going faster than that, because these medium tires, they do slow down quite quickly, even though they don't wear a lot, because you know, you're only doing a couple of laps. I think they've changed it a little bit so that you do feel the effects of the wear, and especially when you get close to Hamilton as well, the dirty air on this game, as you guys already know now, is even worse than it was in F1 2019. With F1 2019, you could basically hang at the back of a car and just follow him through, or follow them throughout the lap, whereas on this game, the dirty air really affects you. So you really want to be passing Hamilton on a straight, like the start finish straight here, and I think usually you want to be catching him around about lap 50 if you're playing on 110%, if you want to be competitive, if you want to be quick enough to be competitive. However, we didn't catch him up that quickly on this attempt. I think we ended up catching him up on lap 51 or 52, I believe. So yeah, we're a bit slower on 110%. I did do a live stream where I did this attempt before. This was back when we had the fuel glitch, where basically if you left and came back, then you were stuck on the standard fuel glitch. We basically did that. We didn't get the fuel glitch because we just kept restarting whenever we made a mistake, but I did that on 107% AI, and I feel as if I caught him up too quickly. So I'm assuming that a sweet spot for me, as we actually get another 1 in, so that's even more deductions in points. I think a sweet spot for me would either be 108% AI or 109% AI, but honestly I've never actually played on 109 or 108% AI, so yeah, because I think on 107% I was catching up Hamilton by lap 48. So you know, when you're getting towards those, you know, top end AI levels, just 1% really does change how quick they are, because I believe usually if you want to have the AI be a second quicker, then you would have to usually increase it by 10% when it comes to the AI. But as soon as you get to that 100%, that's when it starts to be a little bit different. So the difference between 107% and 110% is, on 107% I was catching up Hamilton by lap 48, but then on 110 I was catching up on lap 51. So at this point now, this is when you really want to be overtaking Hamilton on a straight like this. If you end up catching him up in the middle of sector 2, you're going to end up losing so much time, especially to the people who end up catching him up on the straight, especially if it's a DRS straight, because you're going to be able to as you can see, we made a huge mistake there. Actually, I didn't even remember about that. So yeah, we almost lost it. And at that point, again, you're just losing so much time to the people who caught him up earlier on in the event, or you know, around about lap 49 or lap 50. They've already passed him, so they're now making up more and more time as I'm struggling to sort of get past Hamilton. And that's the thing about these esports events. You really have to do it multiple times, because you really need to get that perfect scenario. Essentially, you need to catch him up at the right time, you need to pass him at the right time, and then you need to just continue pushing even after you've passed him, because I think they give you points based on the total time that it takes you to do this event. So if it takes you, you know, I think roughly about 10 minutes or so, if you're that quick, then obviously you're going to get a lot more points than if it takes you 20 minutes to end up completing the task. So these esports events are very difficult. They definitely showcase whether or not you've got the pace or whether or not you've got the consistency. But I definitely recommend that you guys try this, even if you don't feel as if you're going to be as quick as myself or some of the esports level guys. Just give it a go and see what it's like. Just have a little bit of fun with it. Even if you don't end up doing it on 110%, there's no shame in not doing it on 110%. You know, a lot of people just end up doing it for fun, like myself. And as you can see, coming up to lap 52, we still haven't passed Hamilton, and we've actually caught him up at practically the worst part of the track, which is the middle of sector 2. You really don't want to be catching him up here, as we end up going wide and getting lucky again that we didn't end up getting a penalty. And I believe you get a really big hit in points when it comes to the deduction if you get a penalty. So you really don't want to get penalties around here. So as you can see, I ended up slowing down so much, because if I had went wide into Ascari, I would have definitely ended up getting a penalty, and that wouldn't have really been the best scenario for me. So my standards for this is, as long as I didn't get a penalty, I was okay with the attempt. But obviously I didn't want to get a penalty or even warnings, because really and truly you do get a huge hit in deduction. As we come back to the final lap now, so the fastest lap I believe I've done in this event is a I want to say a 20.9, but obviously I failed that attempt, or else I would have obviously been showcasing that attempt instead of this one. But as you can see, we end up passing Hamilton in the middle of turn 1 on the final lap. You really don't want to be passing him that late unless, you know, you really do get that slingshot off the last corner. You really want to be passing him a couple of laps ago, because the quicker that you can catch up to Charles Leclerc, who's in front, the better score you'll be, because obviously it means the quicker that you are. And Charles Leclerc is not someone that you can really pass unless you are playing on some of the lower AI levels. I don't think if you're playing above, I want to say 100%, that it's really possible to catch up Charles Leclerc unless you're used to playing on 110%. But yeah, when it comes to Charles Leclerc, you don't really need to worry about him. You just need to try and catch up as much as you can, because obviously the more you catch him up, the quicker you're driving. So we were pretty lucky not to get a penalty, another penalty going into Ascari. But we did mess it up. As you can see, Hamilton's on our tail now, and you really don't want this to happen, or else again you're just going to be losing a lot of time battling, whereas other people are going to already have been past him and they're not going to be battling, so they're not going to be losing all those valuable tenths and thousandths. So as we cross the line now, it was a pretty good attempt, honestly. It was one of the better ones that I managed to complete on 110% AI. As I said, I definitely think I can go quicker than this, but I'm not someone who's really looking to go into F1 esports, so it's really just something to do for fun. It's something to do for content for you guys, and just sort of give you my insight into the esports events and what I think you guys really need to do in order to pursue F1 esports. So if you like this video, because I'm going to end it here, make sure to hit the like button and stick around by subscribing to the channel if you're new. And again, let me know in the comment section whether you want me to keep this camera angle on the FaceCam, or if you want me to change it, and I'll think about changing it. So I'll see you guys in the next video.